Hello everybody, I'm the Charbox Gamer and welcome back to Tsushima. We're starting off where we left off last time, is picking up that one banner, and that's what we're going to be doing today, is finding most of the banners. I think I leave out one left, but I think that will be taken care of in either the next video or the next one after that. I also think we're also very close on finding the last of the artifacts. Again, I don't know why I didn't just complete them all. I figured I was going to grab it as soon as this video popped up, but going through the video real quick, I noticed I didn't pick it up. I guess I'm saving the very last ones for either A, another video, you know, probably having it at the end, or B, I forgot to grab them or record it. I hope it's not B. I'm really hoping it's A, because if it's B, then, oh my god, really? I mean, granted, we've got almost all of them. I know I did get them all. It's just, you know, not having it being in a video is kind of like, you missed one. You missed one, you dingus. So you get what I mean? Like, congrats. But, yeah, anyway, so that's what we'll be doing in this video. Again, just a reminder that at this point, plot-wise, we've completed the story, and I have yet to see any other side mission other than that one that popped up. I'd say, was it episode 100, episode 101? Regardless, other than that one side mission that popped up, I have not ran into any other missions. So, it's safe to say that by this point, we're done with the missions completely. Unless I'm missing something that's either not showing up on the map or something I haven't just encountered yet. I'm gonna go with the completing it part, because if I didn't, that's gonna be a little awkward. I'm positive. Okay, look, if we missed any missions, it's probably just a small side mission. It don't really matter at this point, I think. So, I say we're good. Who sees me? You see me. What are you doing here?
Challenge me.
If you dare.
This will make for a grand.
Who the hell are you, losers? Like, you don't look like the regular assholes that I fight. Are you just bandits? Like, you don't look like the Ronin assholes. You definitely don't look like the main assholes that we fought. You're fucking just bandits then. Dude, you realize who you're fucking with. I swear, you have to give bandits the biggest credit in video games. They do not care. They do not care who they fight against. They will fucking throw hands with whoever. You could have destroyed countless enemies that are like grades above them, and they will not back off. They gotta give props to the bandits that just don't fuck around. I mean, they do fuck around and they do find out, but you get what I mean. Like, they just don't give a shit. They will throw hands. Gotta give them some credit. Now, of course, that's going with the whole enemy archetype that's easy to put in any situation. Like, okay, what are you gonna be fighting? Oh, you're gonna be fighting a group of bandits. You don't really need a reason why they're there. They're just fucking bandits. I can understand that. In fact, I think whenever I played my D&D games, when I was running that shit, if I was running low on enemy ideas, I just went with fucking bandits. Lore-wise, it makes sense. Game-wise, it was an, you know, easy encounter to set up. However, my friends, they are very experienced in playing D&D, so I figured that, hey, I gotta mix this up a bit. Otherwise, the encounters are going to be boring and predictable. Like, they know possibly how much the AC of the bandits will be. They know how much the HP is going to be. Like, I had to sort of mix it up. Not outright kill them, because, come on, that's a little too fucked up. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, Bandit A here looks like a fucking badass. He's got fucking huge-ass muscles. Like, it looks like there's arrows sticking out of his arm. Like, normal weapons don't fucking work on this dude. Like, I'm not going to be that cheap. Especially not my first time DMing. So I'm like, okay, you see a group of bandits. One of them looks a little extra muscly, like a little more tankier, giving them a hit that, hey, it's not going to be a whole lot like the regular dudes. It's going to be, oh, fuck me. Fuck you. fuck you, game. But that could also be on my happy ass. So, for example, I think the regular bandits, which were quite a few, I always rolled to see how much I would throw in, and depending on how well they did, I would either A, add some more, or B, like, give them less. Honestly, I usually gave them less because I didn't want the encounter to be too challenging, especially since they're, considering their level. So I always made sure, like, hey, is this too much? But regardless, their typical bandits that they would face would have had an armor class of 11, and their HP would be 12. And now, I'd set it up where they wouldn't get just basically fucked by these guys. Like, yeah, there's a good number of bandits in the area, but they have the opportunity to sneak around, catch them off guard, and say they do get into an encounter, it'll take them another good minute or another good couple rounds before the other guards in the area would have figured out what was going on and, joined the fray. So I gave them a good amount of chances to either get around the area, not get fucked, or something along the lines, because I figured that'd be fair if I just say, oh yeah, all the guards in the area will just come around and screw you over. Then I felt like that'd be a dick move. I felt like that would be a dick move, so I just try to go with the flow. Now, when they were doing exceptionally well, that's when I would add the big brute fucking guard, which again didn't do too crazy on the AC for them. I think I only bumped it up to like 13 AC. Again, not entirely sure if that was a stat I went for in the game because it's been a while, but I do know that, hey, the regular dudes were at least 2 AC points off from the beefed up dudes, and they had a little more extra HP. I think since the bandits would have normally 12, I think I bumped their HP to maybe 15, maybe 18 HP. I don't recall on top of my head. All I know is that it was just a little more than the regular dudes. And I figured that since they were, like, not exactly common, like, they weren't rare, but they were, like, every other encounter that'll pop up. So I figured that that's fair enough, especially since these guys are just dominating everything, so give them a little beefed up asshole to deal with. I also included some story elements to make it where, hey, not all the bandits you see are entirely assholes. See, in the campaign, orcs were the bandits. There were social encounters I added to where, yeah, they'd be a little on edge because they typically would fight orcs, but not all orcs are going to be your enemy, and I think I did that well enough. I remember that there was one part of the story where they had to go to an architect for some assistance in the quest. Now, whenever these guys were given a quest, they actually had a few questions that they could go on, but they could tackle them in any order. Now, I followed the book. I like the book, but I thought, I need to make a little more mix into this, as one of my friends who was playing this read this before and knows it, pretty well. I want to add a little mix to it, so it's kind of new for him. 2, I had this interesting idea with how I was going to run the quest. So, depending on what order you do, the quest would take certain different turns. Let's take the first quest that they went on. It was to go talk to an architect for some assistance. I forgot the exact details, but know that they were going to meet an architect team, and this is how it would have played out. See, if they were to go to them last, they would have ran into the architects already captured by a group of bandits. If they were to get there, like, the second quest, then as they approach, they are attacked by the bandits. But if they get there first, they get to talk to the architect, they get to explore the caves, get whatever they needed, and as they're leaving, that's when they have the chance to see that they're being approached by the bandit. And when this happens with each mission, I always have like a different outcome on what's gonna happen, what's gonna do. In fact, I think there's some missions I made that's kind of better that you tackle it last, so that you have a better story progression with said mission, rather than, oh, hit it first and you get the best outcome. So I mixed and matched it. For example, one quest had the adventurers go off to check in on an elderly person who was pretty important to the town, but she lived out of town. Like, she had her own homestead outside of town. So they had to go and check on her. Now, in the book, they said the counter that you could use was a manticore. And I was like, okay, that would be an interesting fight with them. However, I'm going to change this up a bit because I have a better idea. I have a funnier idea. And typically, whenever I have an idea, I go with either A, it sounds funnier, as long as it's within lore reason, or B, anything that makes the characters feel badass. For this mission in particular, I went with A, because I had a funny idea. So the Manticore, which was supposed to be an enemy from the book, I said, nah, let's make it this lady's pet. And there we have a difference in quest timing. So if they took this quest as the first quest, then they would have come to her residence, her homestead, and you know how cats like do that thing with couches where they just claw it up? That's how they would see the Manticore on their first encounter. If they were to go for it as their second quest, they would have seen the Manticore peacefully sleeping on the porch, and if they went to it as their third quest, then it drastically changes. See, the first two options, they would encounter the Manticore immediately. The third option, which is the one they chose, they go to the homestead and they don't see the Manticore at all. When they approached the door, when they knocked on the door, the elderly lady would pop out and ask what they're doing there. Just them basically explaining, oh, they're checking in on her, the town's kind of worried, and she'll be like, oh, she's fine, she has someone to take care of her, which then she would introduce her Manticore that she calls Precious. Now, I planned it where if they went for it for their first and second encounter, during their first encounter, if they failed a perception check, or if they just straight up attacked it, there would have been a fight, obviously. Now, this fight, I didn't say it was going to be completely scripted, but I did plan that after maybe a round or two, the lady would hear the commotion and end it. Now, I also made alternative plans whether A, the Manticore managed to incapacitate them, stop them, and B, if the players managed to kill the Manticore. Now, if A happened where the Manticore proved to be too strong, the old lady again will intervene, scold the Manticore, and take in the players to get rest, to heal up, and apologize pretty much for all the damage that her pet's done. But if it were B, if the players managed to kill the Manticore before the lady figures out that what was going on, the lady would be very sad. Granted, she would understand why they had to do it, and this would also depend on the player's tone with the lady. If the lady is being disrespectful, if they're insulting the lady, which I highly doubt they would have, but if that was the case, then she would grow resentful and become recluse to the players. If they've shown remorse, if they truly said that they were sorry for what they've done, they didn't realize that they thought that it was attacking her home, they were trying to protect her, she would still be sad, but be understanding in that context. Like, she would get that they're just trying to save the day. However, they went with the third option, so this never got into play. The third option, they met the lady, no Manticore in sight. She says she's doing fine. She taps on her porch, and from underneath the porch, out from a crawl space, the Manticore squeezes through, sits by the lady, and eyes the players, giving them the message that this is his home, do not attack this lady or I will fuck you up, basically. I think one of the players did an animal handling check to vibe with the Manticore, and they passed. So the Manticore was more cool with these guys, which is great for later on down the road. Now, there is some cut content from this mission in particular that I did not put in the game because, one, it kind of messed with the flow, and two, this was all stem to make a reference to something, and I figured that that wasn't too important to take off from the main path of the game just yet. And if you're wondering what this whole scenario was a reference to, I gave a good hint when they asked the lady how'd she even get a manticore. She said, I found it lost and abandoned as a pup, so I took him in. And I named him Precious because he was very precious to me. It's a little hard to decipher, and I get that, but the line, abandoned as a pup, I hope everyone caught on, because this was a reference to Kurt Carolee dog, which is what inspired the whole Manticore being the pet in the scenario kind of thing. And the other thing that kind of got washed away because no flow, was the mention of her husband, who was a barbarian, who had a very powerful mallet that she said was still at his grave. If they wanted to go and use it on their adventure, they were most welcome to do so. And that mallet being an obvious weapon homage to Eustace's mallet from the show. Sadly, it didn't get brought into the game. Again, it messed with the flow, but it's something that I like to think about. I didn't even know what to do with said mallet, so I was going to say it's a +1 mallet and leave it at that, which honestly, I probably should have just gave them +1 items for magical items to begin with, because a lot of the magical shit that I gave them was game breaking. That's more on my ass, but I got inspired. I wanted to make some cool shit. Did it break the game? Yes. Did they have fun? Yes, they did. However, the enemy counters were hell on my ass because they powered through everything. Again, mainly my ass, that's at fault, but I was just happy that they had fun. Like, it was my first time DMing. I know I didn't do a picture perfect job with it. I know that sometimes describing places I just was a little off. Like, I wasn't very descriptive. That was my problem. Like, I couldn't get too descriptive with something without getting tongue-tied and messing up, which is embarrassing, but they understood. They gave me time. And I really appreciate that, because I felt like if this were any other place, if this were any other group, they'd probably get on my ass for, not being a great DM in that aspect, which I get it. It's a little frustrating when the DM can't really describe the area and not paint a picture of where you're going into. So I get their frustrations if they did get frustrated. Now, there was another mission that followed up this mission. I don't know if I put it in or not, because at the time, I was kind of pressed for time for the quest to be finished because we had a tight schedule for our D&D sessions. So I had to wrap up the end pretty quickly, and that kind of sucked because the finale left much to the imagination. See, they already beat the big bad guy before he was ready for the final boss fight. Again, my fault. Gave them too much powerful shit. Underestimated their skill. Oh, now I can survive this shit. Fuck you. Anyway, they kind of already beat the main bad guy, but I had a backup in case this happened. The problem was, I just couldn't execute it properly. At all. Like, it was rushed, and I regret that deeply. It was just rushed at the end. Like, there was supposed to be like a build up to it, a final boss fight in a catacomb that just didn't get brought up because we were pressed for time. And I felt like if we weren't pressed for time, I could have set it up better. I could have made it all so much more epic, but it did end on a funny note, which I will have to share in the next video because we're getting too close to the end for me to properly explain it. But, like I was saying, the Manticore creature does come back later, and again, we are very close to the end here. I don't have enough time to explain how it was going to go down, so with that being said, I'll continue this conversation in the next episode. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.